Namaste to the chair, Professor Abhimanyu Kumar sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Radha Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan Rajasthan Ayurveda University, Honorable Dr. Srinivas Banigol, Honorable Vice Chair of this session, all speakers, especially Dr. Dev Pujari, Dr. Vinod Kumar, Dr. Uday Kumar, and friends. Education, especially Ayurveda education and healthcare and research are complementary each other. So the education is supplemented by the outcome of healthcare, and outcome of healthcare is supplemented by the research in Ayurveda. So mainly the Ayurveda education is focused on undergraduation education, Ayurveda Acharya, and Ayurveda Acharya is mainly on practice of Ayurveda in their endeavor. So we should see that whether the education fulfills the need of the practice in undergraduation study, for which we need to see what are the scope for Ayurveda profession at present, need of the country. If you look into that, these days we have lifestyle disorders, metabolic disorders, maybe the fat or protein metabolism disorders where they get deposited, maybe amyloids or fatty changes in the different organs, diabetes, hypertension, and obesity. Such lifestyle disorders are the scope for Ayurveda practitioners. And in the child care, mainly the developmental disorders, immune issues, and in women care, it's said, right, the PCOS is very common in the teenagers, fibroid uterus or menopausal syndromes, hypothyroidism, where Ayurveda has a role to play. Geriatric care, if you look into it, is open for Ayurveda, mainly the locomotive disorders, musculoskeletal disorders, spinal disorders, the andropause, Alzheimer's, cerebral atrophy. These are the areas where geriatric care can be extended from Ayurveda professionals. The mental disorders, mainly the depression, anxiety, stress, substance abuse in the teenagers, right? And suicidal tendency is growing throughout the world, where Ayurveda has a great role to play. And the cumulative toxicity, what now we call as Garavisha, maybe because of different coloring or tasting agents, it has a role in Vishatantra. And in Vrishya, the fertility as well as the infertility. Infertility is a big issue today, where Ayurveda has a role to play. And Shalakya, these days, the professional hazards like the computer eye syndromes or other issues like cataract or pterygium, kriyakalpas, neural deficiency, either maybe the optic or the ear problems or nasal problems. These are very common, which is found in the Shalakya. And Shalya, of course, Yantra, Shastra, Kshara, Agni, Megatification, Vinachikisa or anorectal care, and the Marma. And mainly, as our Honorable Prime Minister in the opening remarks, his inaugural program said the wellness tourism is one of the prime area for Ayurveda to work. And the government has rolled out health and wellness centers, and the other area, Panchakarma, detoxification, cosmetology. And probably these are the scopes for Ayurveda professionals. And our undergraduation education should focus these areas and which enable the graduate to practice and earn his name and fame as well the finance. The challenges what we have now is very recently I have come across very senior person from the law asked what Ayurveda, when they looked into the syllabus of, as a parent, when they looked into the syllabus of the Ayurveda Acharya course, and they are not able to understand exactly what an Ayurveda graduate study in his 5.5 years course, because most of our terminologies are in Sanskrit and it's not in a contemporary language. And rights and privileges or the competency of the graduates or the specialists are not known to the public. What Ayurveda doctor does, what exactly, mostly now they know that Panchakarma is in Ayurveda, but most of the other practices, now an example, now when government released a gadget regarding the competency in the Shalya Tantra or Shalakya Tantra, there was a lot of discussion on these points. Probably it was in the last 50 years in the Sanskrit, so the public could not understand what exactly Ayurveda graduates or postgraduate studies. And now when it's put in the international language, then people started to understand the importance of graduates or postgraduates. The gap between the uniform syllabus and actual teaching. There is a gap between actual teaching and the uniform syllabus across the country. The actual teaching differs, and it makes a difference in the Ayurveda professionals. And this is a big challenge for us. The present day Ayurveda education, right, mainly the student community, they focus this 2 month study out of 12 months, and that main focus is to face and pass the exam and not mainly for practice. Some of the studies says that not even 30% of graduates produced from Ayurveda institutions practice Ayurveda. So there's a gap between education and practice. It's also one of the challenge. The practice in, if I take an example, the practice in Kerala state is mostly the kashaya and its other products. If you look into some other states like the Rajasthan, or if you look into the Maharashtra, where rasaushadhis are practiced. So there is a gap between the education and practice, which need to be taken as a challenge. And educational background of aspirants or students, they come from a modern school, the CBSE or ICSE, or sometimes the Vedic school. There's a difference. There was a 7 years course in the pre-Ayurveda course in Ayurveda, which was practiced in Coimbatore. We found that the product of that, an example, the organizing secretary of this global conference, Professor Dr. G. is a great success in the practice of Ayurveda. And one of the challenge is also the ghost student and faculty, what we are observing these days. Though the NEET entrance exam has reduced it to the greater extent, but the ghost faculty, which has to be eliminated from the education to strengthen itself, is the great challenge for the educational policymakers or regulators. And as said, no, Dev Pujari sir, is the Gurukula, from Gurukula to Kulaguru system. There's a great changes. There was a choice for the student to select their teacher in the Gurukula system, whereas the choice has minimized in the Kulaguru system, and there is a chance based on their performance, their rank, right? They used to get the colleges of their choice or a teacher of their choice. So the Kulaguru system has minimized that one, and is a challenge for education too. And non-availability of real-time data regarding the requirement of Ayurveda professionals. Exactly what is the number of Ayurveda professionals required for the society? Exactly, the data is not available. In fact, if you look into the Ayurveda, no, Ayurveda is aiming for preventive care. And if you look into the preventive care, at least for a village requires one Ayurveda professional to guide the community, to promote their health, to prevent their diseases, upcoming diseases, is also challenge for us. And continuous Ayurveda education for Ayurveda professionals. Say an example now, presently the corona, or the heart disease, or the upcoming thyroid problem. The thyroid problem is now very common. So it is said that every third person, right, out of 10, 3 is positive for hypothyroidism in the teenage, especially teenage. So such education should be given to continuously for professionals as a part of continuous education is a challenge for Ayurveda education. And shall outcome of education, every individual, right, when they select the education, they look for their finance, their fame, and practice as outcome of education, which enable them to practice or professionalize. These are some of the challenge in the present educations. Strength of Ayurveda for education is Ayurveda practice, mainly the undergraduate, right? In this component is the practice is the main focus. And here the Chatushpadas, right? The education in this Chatushpada is the requirement to have a disease-free world, especially the bishop, the knowledge of the health or prevention or the cure of the disease, the Hetulinga Aushadha Jnana, Swastha Atura Parayana, for all healthy person as well as for the deceased. This knowledge is required, where this knowledge should be shared in the bishop during the undergraduation. And Dravya is another component where the source, the quality, the procurement, preservation, and posology, right, is known to the either doctor or regarding Dravya, where probably the pharmacy education, a separate course in Ayurveda education, may be the requirement, and the instruments which is used in either in the surgical practice of Shalya Tantra or Shalakya Tantra or Prasuti Tantra, or in the Panchkarma or any upakarmas, right? So this kind of education is required. So we need to have an assistant with this knowledge, and especially the upastata, the nurse or a therapist, or the kriya kalpa, marma, agnikarma, raktamokshana, yantras, panchakarma. These areas we need to have an assistant or the therapist, and there should be an education focus for this kind of upastata is requirement of the day. And finally, the last and very important component of Chikitsa is Rogi, the clientele awareness, the Rogi is our client. We call it Rogi or Arogya Akamshi. So this Arogya Akamshi, they need to have more information regarding the wellness, especially of Ayurveda component is required, and the prevention of the disease in case of illness, right? That should be having, we should have a course for common public also. Education does not mean only the expert. Education transform the community. So the strength of Ayurveda for education is also the disease which is very common for us is Kala, Artha, Karma, whatever the reason, right? The Kala, Artha, Karma of this is Hina, Mithya, Ati Yoga. So this Mithya Yoga or Hina Yoga, this has to be taught in the education to the greater extent, so that is when it is a greater component of the education in Ayurveda, probably they may not be able to may not be have difficult to diagnose this or modern kind of diagnostic measures are there, but this kind of clinical diagnosis, right, which will enhance the capacity building of a graduate or a professional. And our focus is Swasthya it was very encouraging to learn from our Honorable Prime Minister on his inaugural speech regarding Swasthasya Swasthya Rakshanam. These Dinacharya, Ratricharya, Rutucharya or Sadvrta and Yoga, this has to be compulsorily, right, self experience of every graduate is very important, and such component should be included in the education. When we look into it, why, right, yoga has reached to 200 plus countries, and Ayurveda now in the 25 countries, right? 25 countries, as we know in the welcome speech, it has come, and the welcome address. Why we could not reach? Because this we teach it, but many of the time we do not practice this, and when a gap between this teaching and practice, right, so reduces, probably this will help us as a take forward. And creative care, right, Daiva Vapashraya, Yukti Vapashraya, and Sattvaja are other upakramas, right? And there is also gap here. We have given more importance for Yukti Vapashraya and not for Daiva Vapashraya or Sattva and which has to be emphasized in the education. And Patya Kalpana is another important area. And prioritized management should be the part of the education, where the Beshija should be given the prime importance, and then Yantra, then Shastra, and Kshara and Agni as a priority. So the post-graduation training program also is a mainly, as we learned to Abhimanik Master, right, industrial participation or industrial training of our postgraduates, especially in the last 6 months. They should be posted for in the industry training, where maybe like patenting, marketing, the mega manufacturing, right? So those exposures will be there with for our graduates or postgraduates. And very important is the wellness management, and tourism is there is a lot of stress from the government, right, and encouragement for this. So this kind of wellness should be the part of or tourism should be part of the higher education, and specialty training in Ashtanga Ayurveda, right? Very recently I learned, right, by selling a Kida Jadi, a doctor can earn, and a common person can earn, right, for about 1,000 or 10,000 rupees. So, which is very important component of Krishi Chikitsa, and most of the graduates does not know it. So, such information also should be the part of education, and as a requirement, right, of the sports medicine or Marma Chikitsa, it can be given more emphasis in education, and especially in all clinical practice, right, there should be compulsory, right, this many number of the patients they should observe this many number of the patients, they should assist in the procedure, and they should be able to perform the procedure independently, right? This should be done. We have come across, we know that now Shatahatayana Pandita, to become a Pandita, he would have seen at least 100 deaths, right? To have 100 deaths, he would have seen at least a lakh of patients. So when he says the good number of the good number of patients, good number of the practice, then he can become a better professional. So the rights and privileges of these graduates need to be protected by the regulatory or the government, so that each the state governments, right? So which is not seen in any states. So the rights of and privileges of each graduates or postgraduates should be gadgeted by each government, and the legal issues need to be taken care once they are registered under the government, and that legal care has to be taken by the government, so that their practice, their service will be protected. And the Ashtavaidyan concept practice in Kerala is a guiding torch for specialization in Ayurveda. Uh, and Ekam Shastram Adhyano Na Shastra Nishchaya Tasmat Bahushrutam Vijnanam Vijaniyat Dishat. To become a doctor, perfect doctor, he need to have acquired the knowledge from different corners, right, of the knowledge base. So it may be the modern Ayurveda or allied subjects. So all such knowledge they should acquire. So the education system should include such a knowledge base. I am very happy to listen our board of governors chairman, right, introducing the online certificate courses on different aspects, like different areas, which definitely enrich the professionals of Ayurveda, and recognition of the institutions, the educational institution should be for their potentials has to be by the government, which will enhance the quality of education. And accreditation and assessment is now the part of newly formed National Council for Indian System of Medicine. I hope this should be on strict basis, and it should be encouraged for organizations too. And the ethical issues need to be seen both in the faculty level and students level, which is there is a gap now, or is missing, which has to be given more stress, and evidence-based research to be encouraged within the education system. I'm very happy that some of the university, like Rajiv Gandhi University, Maharashtra University of Health Sciences, right? These universities are encouraging the undergraduate students to do the research, right? And if they are funded by the university, so such encouragement also has to be done from all the universities. What's left in Ayurveda at present is non-practice of Swasthavritta, right? Which has led to have a new management called naturopathy and yoga. The karmabhyasa, the vyayama or other rehabilitation techniques, which is missing now in Ayurveda, has led to have a new science called physiotherapy. The Agni Karma, non-practice of Agni Karma has led to have a thermotherapy. The thermotherapy at present is practiced for management of cancer. And Jalokocharna or Raktamokshana, mainly the Jalokocharna, has led to a new science called hiridotherapy. Now the Jalokas are exported from India for especially in the Western universities, and they use as a decongestant after plastic surgery. Is a great role which is missing now. And Krimi Chikitsa, the maggotification. Now, the maggots are developed, they are cultured, developed for especially in the management of the lumps or the cancers. I hope that if this is not put into the practice through our institutions or through education, then only the Padartha Vijnana and Ayurveda, Itihasa will be left in Ayurveda. So we should, the education should make to the students and faculty to love the Shastras and then enhance the right, the contribution or the service of the Rashtra. So solution is the same principle which is led through the Ayurveda is Adhyayana, Adhyapana and Tadvidya Sambhasha. What we have now is the Tadvidya Sambhasha. This Adhyayana, Adhyapana should be strengthened in educational system. And as Professor Abhimanyu Kumar said, the credit-based education, then the math-based education. We have seen the students are having the failures for 1 mark and they lose for 6 month duration or sometimes 1 year durations, right? So it's a very good system which is introduced in the new education policy, like the multiple entry or multiple exit in the degree programs. So this may be helpful for this system, and also the credit based, right? When there's a range, right, and there is a range of the marks, right? The roll mark is taken out, then definitely the when credit based education system introduced in Ayurveda, definitely it will help the education. And excellence in the knowledge and experience in the practice, right? Excellence in the knowledge, the education should focus the excellence in the knowledge, and experience in the practice also should be counted as a credit. And national exit test, I personally feel that national exit test should be when a huge number of educational systems or education institutions exist in the country. So then the national exit test or licensing exam will definitely help to strengthen the education system. And of course, once again, is the reputation, probably the teachers training program or the institutions, right? The establishment of these institutions to enhance the quality of the teachers, the performance of the teachers will help strengthen the Ayurveda education. And in the evaluation system, especially the graduates or postgraduates, as we have theory and practical component should evaluate the communication skill of the professional, right? Outcome as an outcome, and he should be able to communicate with their clients, their attendant bystanders, and purposeful skill should be analyzed. The reasoning skill should be analyzed, and manual and procedure skills should be analyzed, and their knowledge should be analyzed, and comprehensive evaluation. The reasonable application of the knowledge into the procedures, and analysis skill of the learner, and the synthesis, thinking synthesis, and finally the evaluation should be the part of the evaluation system. So this definitely will strengthen our Ayurveda education. I'm very happy that the present the councils were led by Honorable Dev Pujari has a great visionary, has put forward many changes in Ayurveda education, will definitely strengthen Ayurveda. Thank you very much.